The history of the poster. The appearance of the poster has changed continuously over the past 2 centuries. The first posters were known as broadsides and were used for public and commercial announcements, printed on one side only using metal type. They were quickly and crudely produced in large quantities. As these were meant to be read at a distance, they required large lettering. There were a number of negative aspects of large metal type. It was expensive, required a large amount of storage space, and was extremely heavy. If a printer did have a collection of large metal type, it was likely that there was not enough letters, so printers did their best by mixing and matching styles. Commercial pressure for large types was answered with the invention of a system for wood type production. In 1827, Darius Wells invented a special wood reel, the letter router, capable of cutting letters on wood blocks. The router was used in combination with William Leavenworth's pantograph, 1934, to create decorative wooden letters of all shapes and sizes. The first posters began to appear, but they had little color and design. Often wooden tiles were mixed with metal tiles in a conglomeration of styles. A major development in poster design was the application of lithography, invented by Alois Sineferer in 1796, which allowed artists to hand draw letters, opening the field of tile design to endless styles. The method involved drawing with a greasy crayon into finely surfaced bevel bronze, limestone, and offsetting that image onto paper. This direct process captured the artist's true invention. However, the final printed image was in reverse. The image in and lettering needed to be drawn backwards, often reflected in a minor or traced on transfer paper. As a result of this technical difficulty, the invention of the lithographic process had little impact on posters until 1960, when Julie Christophe came up with his freestone lithographic process. This gave artists the opportunity to experiment with a wide spectrum of colors. Although the process was difficult, the result was remarkable, with nuances of color impossible in other media even to this day. The ability to mix words and image in such an attractive and economical format finally made the lithographic poster a powerful innovation. Starting in 1970, posters became the main vehicle for advertising prior to the magazine era and the dominant means of mass communication in the rapidly growing cities of Europe and America. Yet, in the streets of Paris, Milan, and Berlin, the artistic prints were so popular that they were stolen of words almost as soon as they were hung. Chris Reed, later known as the father of the modern poster, organized the first exhibition of posters in 1884, and 2 years later published the first book on poster art. He quickly took advantage of the public interest by arranging for artists to create posters at a reduced size that were suitable for in-home display. Thanks to grid, the poster show slowly took hold in other countries in the 1890s and came to separate each society's unique cultural institutions, the cover in French, the opera, and the fashion in Italy. Festivals in Spain, literature in Holland, and trade fairs in Germany. The first poster shows were held in Great Britain and Italy in 1894, Germany in 1996, and Russia in 1897. The most important poster show ever to many observers may held in Reims, France in 1896, and featured an unbelievable 1,690 posters arranged by country. In the early 20th century, the poster continued to play a large communication role and to go through a range of styles. By the 1950s, however, it had begun to share the spotlight with other media, mainly radio and print. By this time, most posters were printed using the mass production technique of photo offset, which resulted in the formula dot pattern seen in newspapers and magazines. In addition, the use of photography in posters began in Russia in the 20s, started to become as common as illustration. In the late 50s, a new graphic style that has strong reliance on typographic elements in black and white appearance. The new style came to be known as the International Typographic Style. It made use of mathematical grid, strict graphic rules, and black and white photography to provide a clear and logical structure. It became the predominant style in the world in the 1970s and continued to exert influence today. It was perfectly suited to the increasingly international post-war marketplace, where there was a strong demand for clarity. This meant that the accessibility of words and symbols had to be taken into account. Corporations wanted international identification, and events such as the Olympics called for universal solutions, which the typographic style could provide. However, the international typographic style began to lose its energy in the late 1970s. Many criticized it for being cold, formal, and dogmatic. A young teacher in Basel, Wolfgang Wingart, experimented with the offset printing process to produce posters that appear complex and chaotic, playful and spontaneous, or in stark contrast to what had gone before. Wingard's elaboration of typography was an important foundation for several new styles. They ranged from and retro to the advantage now being made in computer graphics. Adapted from the www.internationalposter.com. Done? Oh.